If you've been having any thoughts at all about relocating up to the Boise, Idaho area, you've probably during your research heard about Meridian, Idaho. If you have, you already know what I'm about to say. If you haven't, I want to make sure to highlight this one for you just a little bit. In the video today, I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why people absolutely love living here in Meridian, Idaho. The Boise Metro area, or the Treasure Valley as we like to call it, is the entire area up here, and there is so much to love about it. But each of the cities do have their own little vibe and their little pros and cons that may attract you to one more than the other. So today we're going to focus on the largest suburb of Boise, Idaho, and we're going to stay positive. We're just going to talk about the good things. So we're going to talk about 10 of the reasons why people tend to fall in love with Meridian. And right off the bat with reason number one is Meridian is just absolutely fantastic if you're going to be raising a family. The family-friendly atmosphere in Meridian is one of the main things when I talk to past clients, friends, family who live in Meridian. That is what they mention so often. When you live in Meridian, you're going to know that there are a ton of safe neighborhoods. It is consistently ranked as one of the safest places here in the valley. They have a ton of great city parks. You're going to have Discovery Park, Kleiner Park. As you're driving around, you're just going to notice that there's a lot of good outdoor areas. Settlers Park if you're into tennis, pickleball, splash pads for the kids. Those public parks are really one of the things that, even as somebody who's lived up here for over a decade, Meridian just sets itself apart compared to all of the other cities around. You're going to have a ton of good options for great schools. You're going to have access to all the different activities and services that you need. Overall, Meridian's just going to be a really good place if you're looking to start that family or kind of raise the family that you've already started. You can do a lot worse than choosing Meridian as the next place to call home. Reason number two, and this is kind of a cop-out because it has to do with the entire Treasure Valley, but Meridian is definitely one that takes advantage of it, is you're going to have a ton of great access to all of the outdoor recreation and activities that we have up here in the Treasure Valley. As we'll talk about a little bit later in the video, you're located right in the center of the Treasure Valley, so you have access to everything that you want, and you're already cutting a little bit of that commute off. You're going to be just about a 10 to 15 minute drive to some of the Boise foothills if you want to go hiking. The Boise River borders right on that northern edge of Meridian. Maybe you want to shoot out to Lake Lowell. You like to get on the lake on the boat during the summer. You're going to be just about 20 minutes from that. And then of course, if you want to get out of town, you want to go to some of the surrounding mountain towns, head up to the Sawtooths, really get out and backpack, White River rafting, whatever it is that you want to do, you're going to be located right in the center. So you're going to have access to all the different jaunts that get you out to those activities. And not to repeat myself too much from the first reason, all of those parks that we have here, Meridian is a place that if you work in Meridian, a lot of those lunchtime right after work kind of walks around, those are going to be something that you're just absolutely going to love. And then moving on to the next reason, the growth here in Meridian is going to be something that you're going to hear a lot about, and that's definitely one of the cons if you're really looking for a place to live. That's not what we're going to talk about in this video though. One of the big positives that comes with that growth, and this third reason that I want to talk about, the growing job market here in Meridian is going to give you access to a ton of great employment opportunities. Now, we're seeing sectors all across the greater Boise Metro area really start to grow extremely fast, especially in fields such as tech. You're going to have healthcare, all sorts of different things are really coming to our area. And even though Boise is the hub, it's kind of the main attraction, Meridian is that kind of right neighboring next big suburb. It is about half the size of Boise, so it is that secondary suburb. But as you're heading out on our highway, Highway 84, if you just go west, you will go from Boise to Meridian and you will not even notice when that city changes. And that is caused with a lot of that growth as it's been following. A lot of those job opportunities, people are starting to look at Meridian of, okay, is this where we actually want to be located versus being downtown versus being out in Southeast Boise like Micron. We're having a ton of places pop up right off Eagle Road. We have a ton of new development happening out towards kind of the western edge of Meridian there on 10 Mile. You're just going to find that the job market in Meridian is growing extremely fast, and this is something that we've needed. And of course, with it being located right next to Boise, if that opportunity that you have is in Boise itself, you can still easily live in Meridian. You're looking at a 20 to 30 minute commute during rush hour, depending on where you're at. And next up with reason number four, we're going to talk about the cost of living here in Meridian and why it might be appealing to you if you're kind of looking at where you want to live next. But before we get into that, I have to give you the reminder, I am a local agent up here in the area. So if you have any questions at all about any of these reasons, any of the towns, whatever it might be, drop me a call, text, email, whatever works best for you. All of that information is down below. I can send you a full guide that breaks down everything that Meridian has to offer, things to do, why you would like to live here, all of that information, and it does it for all of the other cities as well. So just drop me an email, ask for that relocation guide, and I'll shoot it right over. And then don't forget to like and subscribe this video, that way you stay in the know on living up here in the Boise, Idaho area. But back to the list, reason number 4 why people love living in Meridian is it does have a relatively, always keep that word in mind, affordable cost of living when we're looking at comparing it to the rest of the Treasure Valley, but also when we're comparing it to those larger cities that people might be relocating from. And that second one is going to be where you're going to see the largest difference. And we talk about it a lot. You have seen it on all of the different YouTube videos, every single forum. You know, one of the big appeals of Boise and Idaho in general is even though things have gotten more expensive, we are still a ton more affordable than California, Oregon, Seattle, Denver. As you start to compare us to those larger hubs, everything is still pretty cheap here. You are going to find it in housing, even though our housing has absolutely exploded over the last 5 to 7 years. You're still going to be able to get a heck of a lot more for your money. If you're looking for that first home, maybe thinking about your kids in the future, this is a place where you can build that foundation. But where you're really going to see it is in all of those kind of day-to-day costs. You're going to notice it in the utilities. Our utilities are drastically lower than a lot of the different states that people are coming from. Our taxes, when we're looking at property taxes, sales tax, everything here, your overall tax burden is going to be pretty light compared to some of these other states. And then as we get into groceries, eating out, healthcare, everything there, we are going to be fairly competitive. It's going to depend a lot on what your specific needs are, where you're coming from, kind of which of these cities do you choose. But Meridian is going to be located kind of right in the center of what our valley has to offer, kind of cost of living wise. It's going to be a little bit cheaper than Boise. It's going to be a little bit more expensive than out in Canyon County. But when we get into those tertiary costs, you are going to notice that the majority of our valley, because of the size that we all use the same utility companies. There really isn't this large difference quite yet. The only real big difference is going to be in property taxes. Every single city is going to have its own kind of levy rate that it does, and Meridian is going to be one of the lowest right there with Eagle. But this is definitely an area. Do some of your own research. Pop onto Google, look up kind of cost of living calculators, payscale.com, salary.com, costofliving.com, I think it's called. They all have good ones where you can compare exactly where you're leaving, exactly where you're going, and kind of start to anticipate how are things going to change. But that's enough about the financial side of the move for this part of the video. Let's get right back into the lifestyle with reason number 5. Meridian and Idaho in general, but Meridian really excels. They have such a great, strong sense of community. This is something I hear from clients all the time when they're relocating from a different state, is they just do not like the vibe and the feel that they get from people around them. When they move up here, they just consistently rave about the people here and everything that they're able to get involved in. You're going to hear a lot about relocators and how they're just absolutely despised up here in Idaho. You are going to have some people who just want to be loud, but for the most part, that reputation that we have of being extremely nice, extremely welcoming, you're gonna find that. Like I said at the beginning, that family-friendly atmosphere, your kids, if they want to get involved in a certain sport, if there's an activity that they like to do, maybe you just want to get out on the weekends, hit up a farmer's market, whatever you want to do to kind of find your tribe and find the people that have those similar interests to you and build that circle, you're going to find a lot of opportunities for the kids. And the same is going to go for us adults. You can get out and you can join Treasure Valley sports leagues if you want to get into a kickball, softball league. We have a couple of extremely popular mom groups here in Boise and in Meridian in particular. Maybe you want to dive into your church. Maybe you want to get into a run club, join a gym. There's going to be a lot of different opportunities in Meridian because they have access to a lot of those different services. There's just a huge population in Meridian, so you're going to have more opportunities for those types of things. And then maybe you don't care about actually joining and kind of finding that tribe. You just want to be in a more welcoming and happy place. You're going to notice this through all of the different local events that we have. Even as you're walking through the grocery store, you're walking through Costco. We are not a place where you can just completely expect nobody to look you in the eye and they'll just ignore you. If you want to pop your AirPods in and walk through Costco, I am guilty of it. You are going to expect, though, you're still going to want to smile at people. It just has a different vibe than what you might be used to, and sometimes it's hard to put into words. Now, one of those main shopping areas and places to go out and actually see people is going to be reason number 6. You're going to have the Village at Meridian right in the heart of Meridian. This is an extremely popular kind of center and hub of Meridian, but of the Treasure Valley as a whole. You're going to have a movie theater. You're going to have a ton of different restaurants. It's an outdoor shopping mall. You're going to have seasonal events kind of in their courtyard around the fountain. In the Christmas time, you're going to have the fountain going with different music, all of the celebration. They're going to have an ice skating rink. Right next door, you're going to have Kleiner Park, one of those fantastic public parks that I talked about. That's a great place to go during Easter if you want to find kind of that public egg hunt. There's a coffee shop in the center to meet people for. There's some commercial spaces kind of up top for businesses. And then surrounding the village, you're going to find all of your different chain restaurants. You're going to find Chick-fil-A. You're going to find those department stores. It really is just that kind of central portion where you can go and find the the majority of what you're gonna need. We actually just got a brand new restaurant in the village, North Italia. It's a great Italian restaurant. They have quite a few locations around the country, so it is one that people are really excited about. And then a recommendation I always give is Bodovino. It's kind of a self-serve wine bar where you get a little card, you load it up, kind of Dave and Buster's style. You can walk around with your wine glass, you can put it in and kind of choose a different pour of whatever wine you want to try. It's located right in the center of the village, so in that kind of courtyard. And it has a really cool kind of indoor-outdoor setup. It's just a nice place to go out and try. And if you haven't sensed the theme quite yet, and this is going to be reason number 7, just kind of giving it its own time, one of the main perks with living in Meridian compared to all of the other cities is just the access to those amenities that you have. Meridian has everything here in the valley. So you're gonna find a wide array of shopping options, dining options. Maybe you like the chain restaurants, you want the local spots. If there's an essential kind of service or a healthcare facility that you need, Meridian probably is gonna be where it's located. And this is one of those things that has to go for the entire valley, no matter where you are. So if you're already located in Meridian, you're just cutting down on a lot of commute time for things that you might be using quite regularly. And that central location here in the Treasure Valley is going to be reason number 8 why people end up choosing Meridian over some of the other cities is when you look at a map, the Treasure Valley is kind of this entire area here, Boise going up to Eagle kind of on the north end. Then you're going to head out to Caldwell. You're going to have Cuna on the south end. Right there in the center, the highway goes right through it. You're going to have Meridian. North Meridian to the north of the highway, of course. Then you're going to have South Meridian to the south. North Meridian is definitely where a lot more of the development and those services have been, except for right next to the highway. But South Meridian is growing very, very quickly. But you're going to see just by looking at the map that going to really anywhere in the Treasure Valley or whatever your commute might be, if you're living out in Nampa, but you're working in Boise, vice versa, maybe you're just going out for a date night. Going in or through Meridian is most likely gonna happen. So this is a pro really in 2 reasons. First, a lot of the stuff that you're gonna need, like I just said, is gonna be in Meridian. So you're just kind of cutting down on that commute time. But then second, and the cool part, is we've got so many cool things here in the Treasure Valley. Heading out to Indian Creek Plaza in Caldwell, getting down into downtown Boise, you wanna escape out to the mountains, Lake Lowell, I could go on and on. Being in Meridian, you're kind of getting that nice middle ground to where you're not having to take an hour-and-a-half drive to get from Southeast Boise out past Caldwell to that Sunny Slope Wine Trail, or whatever example that you want. You're kind of located right in the center, which gives you nice access to anything that you want to do here in the valley. Reason number 9 is going to be that Meridian is just an extremely safe place to live. The environment, the feeling, this is recognized as one of the safer places in our valley. For crime stats and all of that, if you want to do some of that research, definitely look it up. You can pull up the crime maps, you can compare it with where you're coming from, you can compare city by city here, but you're going to notice that Meridian, really against all metrics, is going to be one of the safer places here in the local area, but also in the state of Idaho, but especially when we're looking at those national averages. It's just a place that you can feel pretty safe and secure. That feeling of safety can be very, very objective, I know, but there has to be a reason why the majority of people who choose to live here already just have that feeling. And then finally, our last reason, number 10, why people choose to live here in Meridian is kind of a summation of everything that we've talked about, but Meridian just offers an incredible quality of life to those who decide to call home. It has a really unique combination of accessibility, that location being in the center, the affordability, the access to nature, all of those amenities that you need. It has the safety. It's a great place to raise a family. Even with the growth, it's still holding on to that community spirit that has made people fall in love with it. And then it's also taking advantage of that growth with that growing economy and more opportunities, more amenities. It is just a special place to live, and I don't see this stopping anytime soon. Those are going to be 10 of the top reasons why people choose to move to Meridian, Idaho over some of the other cities here in the valley. Take it from somebody who has owned multiple homes here in the Meridian, Idaho area. It is a great place to call home. So if there's something that you're looking for that you didn't hear in this video and you're wanting to know if Meridian actually has it, or you just have a general question about the area, all my information is down below. Shoot me a question and I'll do what I can to provide you the insight to see if this might be the right place for you. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. That way you're the first to know everything you need to know about living up here in the area. I hope you learned something that helps kind of get you one step further in wherever you are in your journey. But go ahead and watch one of these videos that's popping up, and I'll see you all on the next one.